Hi, I'm Katie. Welcome to Agile in 7, where we talk about concepts of agile ways of working in 7 minutes or less. Today we're going to be talking about stand-ups, and while we're not going to be going too much into detail on what a stand-up is, because you can Google that, we're going to be talking a little bit more about some of these cases that we see day to day in stand-ups. These could be anti-patterns, these could be fun experiments that people have done. We're also going to talk about our own experiences with some bad stand-ups and some good ones.
Another question I hear sometimes is, what does a good stand-up look like? How can I tell if my stand-ups are going well as a team? One of the key things I tend to look for here is, how much are people helping each other? Are they looking for opportunities to perhaps reprioritize their own work because something more high priority has come up during the stand-up? Are they looking just for opportunities to support their team? Another really good factor that I notice in good stand-ups is people are getting on well, and maybe you can encourage this with some kind of fun icebreakers or fun team stuff to kick off. So it can often be a combination of having really good conversations about the work and really good interpersonal connections between the people.
So like Rupert said, it's all about that vibe with the team when we notice that there's a good stand-up. Good stand-ups for me is when the team are chatting to each other beforehand and they're chatting afterwards. It's a good, collaborative, friendly vibe with each other.
Another thing that I think indicates a really good stand-up for a team is when people are noticing when's the right time to jump into solution mode. And usually that's after stand-up. So the stand-up can be used as an opportunity to gather things that we might want to talk about later in that day. So if it's not a super quick thing, I'll see the team saying, yep, let's chat about that later. And then after stand-up, there might be a couple of different conversations happening.
So one of the techniques I like to use, and again this is a slightly more brazen way of doing things, is as soon as I notice that people are starting to have more of a conversation within two people rather than a wider conversation with the team, is I just hold my hands up like this and say take it offline, and that becomes the status for the team. We know this is an established practice that as soon as somebody, it doesn't just have to be the Scrum Master, somebody is like, we take it offline. One of the other great things that I saw from a mature team was that they started owning the stand-up. So this is when I was a Scrum Master. Sometimes I was a bit naughty and I was late, or I had another meeting, or I just got caught up having a coffee with somebody. When I would quickly rush to the board, I noticed that my team were already halfway through the stand-up. And that was a really great moment for me, because we want the teams to be owning their own practices. It is not up to the coach or the Scrum Master to be enforcing things. The Scrum Guide even says the Scrum Master does not need to be there. They just need to ensure it happens. And ensuring it happens might be that somebody else runs it for the day.
So we've answered that question that some of you might have had, what does a really good stand-up look like? Now it's only natural to think about, what does a really bad stand-up look like? Or what are some horror stories that we've seen in the past? So my first one here is the time when I thought, yep, let's try and jazz up these stand-ups a bit. We'll add in some chickens at the start. And so I said, cool, everybody kick off by going around with your chicken and then say what your update is. What's your mindset today? How are you feeling? That kind of thing. And then we got to a person who didn't really want to talk about how they were feeling that day. And they just froze up. They were like, I'm feeling really uncomfortable with this. And that's when I realized, we need to make this kind of thing optional. Not everybody wants to bring this kind of stuff to work, and that's okay. Another time you might be able to tell when things are going wrong is that you're standing up at the board, you're talking to it, but nothing's really moving. It's a bit boring because you're just talking about the same stuff every day. Kind of seems like everything's a bit blocked. Something I would try in that kind of situation is to see, is there a way we can break up the work a little bit smaller to create smaller chunks of value that we can move through, that will flow a little bit better, that we can celebrate together more easily? Because if they're really big or hard to move for one person or for two people, they might stay there for a while and it's a bit demoralizing. Another mistake I've made as a facilitator of stand-ups is asking too many questions. So one time there was a piece of work blocked and I thought, really keen to be helpful here. Let's jump in and say, what can we do to help? And so I asked a lot of questions about what the problem might have been. someone who was watching said, I'm not sure that actually helped the person. I think it might have actually made them feel like you didn't trust them. And building trust is the most important thing that we're trying to do with our team. So that was really good feedback for me to hear. Another ingredient of a bad stand-up is perhaps when there's low trust in the team, or they haven't quite gelled yet, or people aren't quite willing to talk about why something hasn't been done. That social accountability isn't really there. And it can mean that people are a bit vague when they're giving their updates. And if you're kind of questioning a little bit, you don't really get much out of it. So you're saying, oh, what can we do to help here? Oh, nothing, I got it. It's just going to take another few days. That kind of thing indicates to me that there's low trust in the team, and maybe you need a little bit more team building or a little bit more reassurance that stand-up isn't a stick to beat people with. It's a way for us to help each other.
So from Rupert and myself and the rest of the Agile and 7 crew, thanks for watching our video on stand-up. Please like, subscribe, and give us some feedback so we can improve our videos. And if you've got any cool things that you want to hear about, also let us know in the comments. See ya!